Milan Nedić was born in 1877 in Grocka, Serbia. Grocka used to be a small town near Belgrade. In 1955, Grocka became part of Belgrade as Belgrade expanded. At the time of Nedić's birth, Serbia was engaged in Serbo-Ottoman Wars 1876–1878. These were first wars after 59 years of peace, 1817–1876. One could say Nedić's whole life was connected to wars. Nedić's father Đorđe was local district chief. Nedić's brothers Milutin and Božidar were also in the army. His brother Milutin was married to former prime minister's granddaughter. Several more people related to Nedić became famous. His cousin Konstantin Fotić was diplomat. His other cousin Dimitrij Ljotić was fascist politician. Some Nedić supporters blame Ljotić for misguiding Nedić. Nedić's nephew was Stanislav Krakov, who wrote for fascist magazines, published books, and made movies in the 1930s. Krakov's father was Polish, in case you wonder about the last name. Nedić is often described as Serbian Marchal Petain. Both Petain and Nedić had stellar military careers before World War II. If they died before World War II, they would have been remembered in positive light. I would say they lived long enough to become villains. Nedić finished military academy in 1904 and joined the army. In 1910, he became major. He served in two Balkan Wars, 1912–1913. In 1913, he was promoted to lieutenant colonel. Nedić received multiple decorations for bravery. During World War I, Nedić continued his rise in the military ranks. In 1915, at 38, Nedić became the youngest colonel in Serbian army. In 1916, Nedić became ordnance officer to King Petar. During the war, Nedić was given command of infantry brigade of the Timok division. At the end of the war, Nedić served as the 3rd Army Chief of Staff. He was also de facto head of the 4th Army District, since the nominal commander was too old and infirm. In 1923, Nedić became division general. In 1930, he became lieutenant general. The political situation in the country was bad. Serbia joined Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. Serbian and Croatian politicians bickered a lot. In 1928, Serb politicians shot and killed several Croat politicians in the parliament. King Alexander had it enough, and he established dictatorship. This is known as 6th January dictatorship. The country changed its name to Yugoslavia. In 1931, King announced the end of the dictatorship without solving anything. In June 1934, Nedić became chief of the general staff of the Royal Yugoslav Forces. In October 1934, King Alexander was murdered during an official visit in Marseille, France. His killers were anti-Yugoslav Croats, Macedonians, and Bulgarians. Even without World War II on the horizon, the future of Yugoslavia was bleak. One of the characteristics of this period are short appointments on the positions. Nedić served only 9 months as chief of the general staff. British diplomat described Nedić as slow-thinking and obstinate. Nedić's defenders say that he was pushed into politics. According to them, he was a simple military man. They say that Nedić admired Germans only because of their superb army. In 1934, Nedić's cousin Ljotić formed his own fascist party called Zbor. Ljotić used the familial ties to Nedić to spread fascist ideas in the army. Zbor participated in 1935 and 1938 elections and both times won only 1% of the votes. In August 1939, Nedić was appointed Minister of the Army and Navy. Only a few weeks later, the World War II started. Yugoslavia was at the crossroads. The country wasn't ready for another war. King Petar II was underage, which made things even more complicated. Some politicians were pro-British and some were pro-German. In October 1940, Ljotić's supporters attacked the building of Belgrade University. They threatened faculty and students with pistols and knives, stabbed some of them, hailed Hitler and Mussolini as their heroes, and shouted, "Down with the Jews." Many Zbor supporters were arrested and Ljotić went into hiding. Yugoslav government officially banned Zbor. In November, Nedić resigned from his post to protest the government crackdown on Zbor. On 25 March 1941, Yugoslavia signed Tripartite Pact with the Axis. Only 2 days later, on 27 March, coup d'etat happened in Yugoslavia. King Petar II was proclaimed of age even though he was not yet 18. The formal leader of the coup was Air Force Commander and General Dusan Simović. He was appointed as Prime Minister. The Axis reacted to the coup by invading Yugoslavia. The fighting lasted for only 12 days, 6 April till 18 April. This is known as April War. King and the government left the country. Nedić participated in the April War. Now, the main question is how much effort he put in the defense. In 1941, Germans just walked into Belgrade. There was no one to lead the defense of Belgrade. There were several theories about why Yugoslavia fell so soon. One of them is that important people in the army, like Nedić, believed in German victory, so they didn't want to waste lives when there was no chance of winning. The Axis partitioned Yugoslavia. Now we are talking about German-occupied Serbia. Side note, this map always reminded me of giving someone middle finger. Germans needed someone to lead occupied Serbia. They wanted Ljotić for the job, but he was too unpopular. They offered Prime Minister position to Nedić, and he accepted to lead government of national salvation. Nedić supporters used Nedić's family tragedy as justification for his collaboration. Nedić was married and had 5 children, 4 daughters and only 1 son. In June 1941, there was a huge ammunition depot explosion in town Smederevo. It is estimated that 2,500 people were killed. Among the victims were Nedić's son, daughter-in-law and grandson. Nedić's defenders say that his collaboration with the enemy started only after this tragedy. Supposedly, Nedić went on mission to save as many Serb lives as possible. This is debatable considering how many Serbs died under Nedić's rule. Nedić's enemies say he sacrificed the lives of Serbian Jews and Roma. It is true that Nedić did nothing to save Serbian Jews and Roma. Serbs under Nedić's command helped Germans register and arrest Jews and Roma. This means that Nedić participated in the Holocaust. Nedić's cousin Ljotić was a known anti-Semite who wrote brochure against the Jews in 1938. In his public speeches, Nedić used terms like communist Jewish rebel and communist Masonic Jewish English mafia. On 1 September 1941, Nedić gave a speech on Radio Belgrade and declared his intent to save the core of Serbian people. He also spoke against organizing resistance to the occupying forces. This is eerily similar to Marshal Petain. Yugoslav king and government were in exile in London, UK. Simović remained to be de jure prime minister. Chetnik leader Draža Mihailović saw Nedić and Ljotić as the enemies. In July 1942, Draža asks Yugoslav government in exile to publicly denounce Nedić and Ljotić as traitors. The government renounced Nedić and Ljotić over BBC radio. In March 1942, Nedić established Srpska državna straža, English Serbian State Guard. They controlled Banjica concentration camp. so Nedić should be blamed for all the crimes committed in Banjica. In one case, female partisan doctor was executed together with her 6-year-old daughter. The little girl's name was Vera Mičić. In October 1943, the State Guard came under control of SS. Nedić defenders like to mention how Nedić received refugees from other parts of Yugoslavia. In 1941, Germans annexed parts of Slovenia. Germans decided there were too many Slovenes in Slovenia. Slovenes were seen as educated and hard workers, so killing them would be not productive. German plan was to deport some Slovenes to Croatia and Serbia. Nedić supporters like to exaggerate the number of Slovenes Nedić received. Nedić's enemies say that Nedić couldn't refuse German demand. German plan was to deport between 220,000 and 260,000 Slovenes, 1/3 of the population. There were many problems with the deportations. In the end, only 6,500 Slovenes were deported to Serbia. Much larger number of Serbs were deported to Serbia from Croatia and Bosnia. Nedić supporters say all these Serbs would have been otherwise killed. Thus, Nedić was nicknamed Serbian Mother. Yes, Mother. German reprisal demanded that 100 Serbs be killed for each killed German soldier and 50 for each wounded German soldier. In February 1943, the reprisals were reduced to 50 executed for each killed German soldier and 25 for each wounded German soldier. Despite all the reprisals, Nedić continued collaborating with the Germans. In the 1942 Christmas address, Nedić said, "The old world which destroyed our state is over and replaced by the new one. This new world will elevate Serbia to its rightful and honorable place in the new Europe. Under the new leadership of Germany, we look courageously into the future." In September 1943, Nedić met with Hitler. Nedić requested annexation of East Bosnia, Montenegro, Raška, Kosovo and Srem. Nazi Minister of Foreign Affairs Joachim von Ribbentrop rejected Nedić's demand. In October 1944, Red Army reached the Balkans. Nedić's government was disbanded. Nedić fled to Austria, where he surrendered to British forces. On 1st January 1946, British handed Nedić to the Yugoslav partisans. Nedić was supposed to stand trial. Most likely he would have been executed after the trial, like Draža. However, Nedić died on 4th February 1946 after supposedly jumping from the window. Most Serbs believe he was pushed by the communists. The conspiracy theory says that Nedić would have revealed some sensitive information during the trial. So communists had to kill him before the trial. Ljotić died in a car accident in April 1945. They both took many secrets to grave. Nedić's legacy is very controversial. He was more popular than Ljotić, but less popular than Draža. The 1993 book, The 100 Most Prominent Serbs, included Nedić. The book editor was art historian Dan Medaković. Medaković said his own family was saved by Nedić. Medaković claimed that Nedić saved 1 million lives by collaborating with the enemy. In the 2000s, Nedić's portrait was included among those of Serbian prime ministers in government building. In 2008, Serbian politician Ivica Dačić removed the portrait. Ironically, Dačić belongs to Milošević's party, SPS. In 2018, Nedić's court rehabilitation failed. What do I think? Serbian World War I Field Marshal Petar Bojović said that collaborating with the enemy is against military honor. When Germans came to Bojović during War II to ask for his collaboration, he simply said no. I have huge respect for Bojović and none for Nedić. He shouldn't be rehabilitated.